Morning, my name is Tom, and we're going to be looking at Exodus chapter 18 all together for the next few minutes. So let's turn to that if you can with me. Find a Bible under your chair or in the pew. Now, if you've been with us over the last couple of months, all ages have been studying Exodus. So upstairs here in the sermons and downstairs the children's work, we've all been studying the same bit of Exodus each week. I wonder if parents and children have worked that out. I hope you have, and you've been able to have great conversations when you've come home as you've been studying the same things. And so we're going to look now at Exodus chapter 18. And we're going to meet a character, and his name is Jethro. Okay? Now, I need someone to come and help me be Jethro. Does anyone want to come and be an old man? You want to come and be an old man called Jethro, who's a sort of father-in-law figure for Moses. Zachary's very keen, but it'd be great if it was somebody else. As great as Zachary is at dressing up. Who have we got? Anyone, an old man character? I see anybody here? You going to come? Yeah. Gareth is an old man. He doesn't need to dress up. But bring a small child with you, Gareth, if you can. It won't look so good. It needs to be somebody small. So we got a small boy. A small boy. Yeah, Oliver or Andrew, do you want to come? All right, we'll go with Zachary then. Come on. Okay, come and stand over here. Here we go. It's a beard? Yeah, it's a beard. Right, okay, there we go. We've got an old man, everybody. Here we go. Say hello to Jethro. Hello, Jethro. Hello, Jethro. Fantastic. Hello, Jethro. Right, now let's meet Jethro. Exodus chapter 18. Jethro, the priest of Midian and father-in-law of Moses, heard of everything God had done for Moses and for his people Israel, and how the Lord had brought Israel out of Egypt. So follow with me on page 75. And then we're told about how Moses and his family had become separated. And so his children and Zipporah have gone home to be with Jethro, and Moses is still here. And we come to verse 5. Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, together with Moses' son and wife, came to him in the wilderness, where he was camped in the mountain of God. Jethro had sent word to him, I, your father-in-law Jethro, am coming to you with your wife and her 2 sons. Maybe it would have, if it was today, it might have gone something like this. So here comes the messages. Hi, Jethro, how are the kids from Moses? Hi, Moses, we are well, thanks, see you soon. Send my love to Zipporah, please. Hi, Moses, see you tomorrow. Oh, my goodness, what's happening? Is he coming? Really, where? We are coming to see you. Who's coming? Moses is getting worried now. Who's coming? Me, Zipporah, and the kids. Oh my goodness, wow. I'd clear out the spare room then and get ready. So Moses, that's the situation. Zipporah and the children are coming. Zipporah is Moses' wife. Jethro is coming with them. They're going to come and see Moses. Okay, so we're with it so far. Verse 7. Moses went out to meet his father-in-law and bowed down and kissed him. They greeted each other and then went into the tent. Moses told his father-in-law about everything the Lord had done to Pharaoh and the Egyptians for Israel's sake, and about all the hardships they had met along the way and how the Lord had saved them. Okay, now what did you think? Have a think. If you've been with us, Moses is telling Jethro about all the things that God has been doing. So can you think, what kind of things might he have said to Jethro? Put your hand up if you can think of something that Moses would have told Jethro. Anything at all. Call it out. I know you know. Escape from Egypt. Brilliant. Fantastic, Bowen. Thank you very much. Sorry? The Red Sea. Yes, exactly. Anything else? Pharaoh. Something to do with Pharaoh. Brilliant. Now, around the building, we've got lots of cream pieces of paper underneath chairs and hiding around. Okay, or maybe on top of chairs. Okay, if you're small, can you go and look for those cream pieces of paper and bring them to the front? You might find some blue ones. Leave them where they are. We want the cream ones. Fantastic. Well done, everybody. No, we don't want blue ones. Put the blue ones back. We need the cream ones. Lovely. Okay. Wonderful. Wonderful. So, what have we got here? We've got some pictures on. So first of all, let's see. Who's got this one? Have a look on the screen. Have a look on the screen. Who's got that one? What do you think's going on there? Any ideas from anybody? God is speaking to Moses in the burning bush. You can get that working out well. So, okay, next one. What have we got here? What happened? There's various things. Who's got this one? Who's got this one? Right, what's happening here?
Water turned to blood.
Yeah, the water turns to blood. That's right. Fantastic. So there was a plague. God's showing that he's greater than Pharaoh. Who's got this one? Oh, no, we haven't found the frogs. We've got to find the frogs. We'll find them later. Don't worry. Don't worry. We'll find out later, but that's there somewhere. Okay, what about this one? What's this?
The plague of gnats.
The plague of gnats. It could also be the plague of flies, couldn't it? Well, we don't know. It's one or the other. Both, maybe. Okay. What have we got here?
I think it's a disease.
It's a disease. That's right. It's the plague of boils. Ooh, horrible. Okay. And then we've got this one. Who's got this one? What's this?
Storm.
Storm, exactly. It's a big storm. It's the plague of hail, where the massive hailstones came down. And then, what have we got here?
Locusts.
Locusts. So we've got lots of plagues, and then we had this one.
They're putting blood on the door.
Do you know why? Can you remember why they're putting blood on the door? Remember?
So they won't get the disease.
So they wouldn't. Well, I'd say it was more than a disease. So they wouldn't get.
Their son killed.
Yeah. So that's right. So that the firstborn son wouldn't die. That's absolutely right. Well done. Fantastic. So that was the last plague, the plague on the firstborn, and we found the frogs. Fantastic. We found the frogs, everybody. And so Moses. So do you remember? God rescued his people out of Egypt by putting that final plague, and he put the blood on the doorstep, the blood on the doorpost, the blood of the lamb, so that the firstborn son would not die and they'd be safe and they were rescued. And then after that, what happened here? What's this one?
Splitting the sea.
Splitting the sea, exactly. So he rescued them through the sea, and they took God's people through on dry land through the middle of the Red Sea, and then the sea came crashing down on top of all of God's enemies. So can you think, this is all the things that Moses would have been saying to Jethro, isn't it? So fantastic. You put those bits of paper down. Well done, thank you. And then you can go sit back down where you were sitting before. Well done. Fantastic. Now, can you see? Let's see what Jethro says. Jethro was delighted to hear about all the good things the Lord had done for Israel in rescuing them from the hand of the Egyptians, verse 9. He said, this is on page 76, he said, "Praise be to the Lord who rescued you from the hand of the Egyptians and of Pharaoh, and who rescued the people from the hand of the Egyptians. Now I know that the Lord is greater than all other gods, for he did this to those who had treated Israel arrogantly." Then Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, brought a burnt offering and other sacrifices to God, and Aaron came with all the elders of Israel to eat a meal with Moses' father-in-law in the presence of God. So can you see Jethro? He hasn't heard about this before. He's from another people called the Midians. He's a priest of Midian. And he's come and he's heard about all the things that God has done. And Moses has just told him. And his response, did you see, is he's delighted. He's really excited to hear about all the good things. And then he emphasizes a few things. He says, can you see that he keeps saying about how he's rescued them? Verse 9, he rescued them from the hand of the Egyptians. Verse 10, can you see? He says, "Praise be to the Lord who rescued you from the hand of the Egyptians and of Pharaoh, who rescued the people from the hand of the Egyptians." He keeps saying this. He thinks it's really important, doesn't he? He rescued them. It's really good news. And then verse 11, "Now I know that the Lord is greater than all other gods, for he did this to those who treated Israel arrogantly." So Jethro's doing something amazing here. He's summing up all that's happened. The big thing that's happened is God has rescued his people and God has smashed his enemies. So Jethro this is a kind of pause in the book of Exodus for us to go, oh, yeah, look, this is what God has done. Isn't it amazing? And for us to be able to, as we read through this book, to stand with Jethro and go, wow. And that is what hearing the great things that God has done is meant to do to us, isn't it? It's meant to make us go, wow. It's meant to make us be delighted and excited. And actually, Christians have even more to be delighted and excited about, don't we? So think about, how has God rescued us if we're trusting Jesus? He's rescued us through sending his son Jesus to die on the cross. He has defeated all our enemies. So he's defeated the things that separate us from God, our sin. He's defeated the things that we look around us in our world and we worry and we fear and we think, what does the future hold for ourselves and our loved ones, and even as we head into winter and all the things that we're worried about? He's shown he's the boss of all of it through the way that he acted there in Exodus and through defeating sin and death on the cross. He's shown that he's defeated death itself. And actually, if we pause and we think about that, that is really good news, isn't it? It's the only good news at times that we can possibly hear when we reflect on the world around us. So what I want us to do for a moment is you were each given a card on the way in, and it's got a little chance to respond for ourselves. Okay, so we want to look at the top box on that card where it says, "I am delighted that God has done," or "I love Jesus because he." I want us to think of one thing about what God has done, maybe through Jesus, maybe in some other way, that we can say, "I am delighted in that." Now, if you've been a Christian for a while, you know that, I'll write down that Jesus died on the cross. Well, that is the best thing possible. Well, let's just think why that is good news. Why that is good news for us today. Why, of all the things that could bring us joy and delight in the world, this is the one thing that should give us the most joy and delight. So let's have a few moments. If you're with smaller people, do help each other to think about what it is that's good news about what God has done. And you can write something on there. We'll just spend a couple of minutes doing that now. Down. Now, if we turn back to page 76, let's see what happens next. Page 76, so verse 13. The next day, Moses took his seat to serve as judge for the people, and they stood round him from morning till evening. When his father-in-law saw all that Moses was doing for the people, he said, "What is this that you are doing for the people? Why do you alone sit as judge, while all these people stand round you from morning to evening?"
Sorry. The queue for my skinny frapper mocha yak milk latte was really quite long. So I'm Jack. Nice to meet you. Tom, it must be, yes? Yeah,
right,
okay,
yeah,
great.
right.
I'm Jack from Midian Consultants. Yep, that's us. You guys called us here because obviously you need help, don't you? Yes, you need help, some expert help. Don't you need some expert help? Well, don't worry, you come to the right people. Midian Consultants, we know what we're doing. We're the experts. In fact, you've actually got, the top guy at Midian Consultants, so don't worry, you're in good hands. So, I've run all you've been doing through my bespoke Excel spreadsheet, essentially a transformation modeler, and it's told me all the things that you could improve. So, let me just go through that. I think it's really important for everyone to hear. Okay, so number one, you need a complete digital transformation, right? Complete digital transformation. That's likely to take many years. So to do this, you need to completely reorganize your organization, okay? Completely. Okay. You need to turn into these things called agile squads. These are amazing things. But actually what they are is what we do, and we tell you to do them. So they're just right. And then finally, you're going to need to do some sort of as-is, to-be process flow. You'll be fine. It's all good. And obviously, all this is going to cost about £30 billion. I hope that's okay.
Well, we'll see about that, Jack. What was your name again? Jack?
Sorry, Jack.
Yeah, Jack from Midian Consultants.
Yes.
Right, okay, thanks. Don't call us, we'll call you, okay?
Okay. Are you not excited? No. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, thank you. I'll go and enjoy my latte.
Okay, well, we just met. Thanks very much, Jack, the management consultant from Midian Consultants. Well, Jethro here, I think maybe works with someone like Jack, although I think Jethro is slightly better at his job. Let's see what happens. You see, Jethro comes in and he starts asking these questions. He says to Moses, "What are you doing?" And so why are you, all these people are hanging around you morning till evening, you have to answer all their questions. And Moses says, well, because the people come to me to seek God's will. Whenever they have a dispute, it is brought to me, and I decide between the parties and inform them of God's decree and instructions. And then we get the management consultant's verdict. What you are doing is not good. Verse 17. You and these people who come to you will only wear yourselves out. The work is too heavy for you. You cannot handle it alone. Listen now to me, and I will give you some advice, and may God be with you. You must be the people's representative before God and bring their disputes to him. Teach him his decrees and instructions and show them the way they are to live and how they are to behave. But select capable men from all the people, men who fear God, trustworthy men who hate dishonest gain, and appoint them as officials over thousands, hundreds, fifties, and tens. Let them serve as judges for all the people at all times. But let them bring every difficult case to you, the simple cases they can decide for themselves. That will make your load lighter because they will share it with you. If you do this, and God so commands, you will be able to stand the strain, and all these people will go home satisfied. So do you see what's going on? You see Jethro's come in, and he's spotted a weakness in the organization, and he's saying, look, the way you need to do it is different. You need to delegate. You need to get other people involved. Now, lots of people have read this and have gone, this is the first management consultant, this is great for sort of leadership training and theory and all that kind of thing. But actually, the thing that we need to see is why Jethro is saying this. Okay, and there's something that he repeats a couple of times and that we get repeated here. So verse 16, Moses says, I decide between the parties and inform them of God's decrees and instructions. And we get that again in verse 20. Teach them his decrees and instructions. The reason they need a big organization remake is so that God's decrees and instructions can be heard by all the people. And do you remember how Jethro was kind of helping us look back through the book of Exodus? And so we had all the pictures that helped us remember what God has done. Jethro also is here to kind of help us look forwards. Because what's going to happen in the second half of the book, from chapter 20 onwards, is we're going to get a lot of decrees and instructions, starting with the Ten Commandments and going on from there. Okay, so Jethro is kind of here as a kind of a hinge in the middle of the book to say, look back and look forwards, so that we can see that what matters is that God's people hear God's word. And so rather than fixating on the exact details of hundreds, 50s and 10s, the point is Jethro realizes it's really important that all of God's people hear God's word. It's really important that all of God's people hear God's word, and he's trying to help make that possible. And that is still the same today, isn't it? It's still really important that all of God's people hear God's word. And this is where the blue pictures come in. So can we go and find those blue bits of paper around and bring them up? There's only 4 of them. Jack, we might need that microphone back. I don't know if that's possible. Jack, can we have the microphone back? Well done. Bring those forwards. Here we go. Thank you. Thank you very much. So, okay, come up here. Come up here. Come and tell us what you've got. So, how do these? Here we go. How do these help us think about how to get to know God better? What are these different people doing? You can hold them up so that people can see. And so what have we got here? So first of all, what's this one?
A Bible.
It's a Bible. So how does that help?
You hear God's word.
Exactly. Well done. Fantastic. So we can hear God's word in the Bible. What have we got next? Here we go.
A party.
A party. Well, yeah, it could be a party, couldn't it? It's a load of people having fun together. But there's somebody very tall, and then there's a load of small people. What might that remind you of? Anything? Anything in particular?
Class.
Yeah, it could be a classroom. It could be, because sometimes we gather together, don't we? We gather together in groups and we listen to God's word together, and maybe somebody helps us. Whether it's all together up here in church, whether it's down in small groups downstairs, whether it's in small groups during the week when we meet in home groups and that kind of thing in different ways. Okay, what else have we got? What's this? What do you think this one is? Anybody? Any ideas? Any ideas what that one is? Any ideas? Any ideas? Any ideas? No? What's he got on his head? Headphones. What might he be listening to? Any ideas? He could be listening to music. What kind of music could you listen to that would help you get to know God better? You could listen to songs about Jesus, couldn't you? That can be helpful. You can listen to God's word. Sometimes when you're just walking along, and adults, we can do this, can't we? When we're going to work, you can just, take the opportunity. Good opportunity to listen to God's word. Okay, what about this one? Last one. What are they doing?
Communicating.
They are communicating, correct. Yes, they're having a chat. Exactly, well done. Well, fantastic. So, yes, we do. This is what we do, isn't it? We chat together. And we share God's word with each other to help each other get to know God better. Okay, fantastic. Well done. So you can put those down. You can go sit back down. So you see, Jethro is saying to Moses, it really matters that all of God's people get to hear God's words. And so the last thing before we sing and we finish, let's just reflect for ourselves, that second box on that piece of paper. What are the ways that we personally can respond and think, yeah, I need to make sure I am hearing God's words in my life? Maybe it's something we need to restart doing. Maybe something we could start doing. How can I hear God's word every day? How can I make sure that that is something that I'm able to do? So spend just a moment thinking about that before we sing our final song.